Hi guys, I'm Harry and the video today is going to be about the coronavirus, the COVID-19 situation. It's going to be more of an overview of what's happening around the world rather than an approach of just telling everybody the pointless jargon that's coming out, because realistically new things are being found out every day about this virus. So the video today is going to focus on the more news stories and the way that people are coping around the world. Just as a quick overview about this situation, there are more than over 100 kinds of coronavirus known at the minute in wildlife, but only 7 that are known to infect humans. Even less can cause severe respiratory infections at 3, and these are SARS-CoV, MERS and SARS-CoV-2. These are all RNA viruses, so it means they have a very large genome, which leaves a lot of room for mutations to occur. Specifically that we've seen with this new SARS-CoV-2, the mutation is corona spikes that we've actually seen on the surface of this virus, and this allows it for a lot easier attachment and adherence to human cells. The things that we should be worried about most is other people, not animals specifically. It is a zoonotic virus, so it can transfer between animals and humans, but we've seen in specifically dogs, it can't adhere as well to their cells as it can to humans or felines. A new story that we saw a while ago was big cats at the Bronx Zoo being actually infected with this virus. Another interesting news story that we've seen from New York was they had used fake footage where they had actually taken footage from an Italian hospital and broadcasted it as a hospital in New York. We've also seen similar stories to this happen in England, where they had lined up dead bodies and they had said that this was caused by the pandemic of COVID-19, but they had actually reused these pictures from about 4 years ago when issues had happened in Africa. I'm now going to invite my girlfriend to come into the video now, and we're going to talk a little bit about Miami, where we currently are. Okay, Caitlin, so we've currently been in Miami for near a month now, and at least from my point of view, I've seen a lot of things that have changed since we've been here. Obviously, you've lived here your whole life, so is there anything that you've seen specifically change that you would like to comment on?
I would say changes happened here very gradually in relation to the COVID-19. So first they issued a curfew so no one could be out after 10 o'clock, and this killed a lot of the nightlife business, which is what Miami relies on. So a lot of, let's say, clubs or restaurants or bars were closed. So started with that, and then even the daytime started being affected by the beaches being closed, because that means a lot of people would congregate together, especially since it's a hot spot for spring breakers and this is spring break season. So a lot of those were broken up. It took some time, but finally right now all the beaches are cleared, as well as the waters. So boats used to be able to go out, and now you're not allowed to go out because all the marinas are closed. And let's say you have your boat parked behind your house, you could still go out, but you can't anchor onto anything. So I think that's just really an effort to social distance. But I feel like right now Miami is not in agreement in the different neighborhoods of doing the same actions. Like let's say in Hialeah, which is a different part than where we're living right now, is a lot of people have been like standing in lines really close in order to get unemployment benefits because of COVID. And as well as they're administering the COVID test, but they were charging for it, which right now is illegal to do. So it's just hard to be uniform in actions.
Now it's interesting to hear, and I think not just generally in Miami, but from what I've seen, everywhere in America is trying to cope differently.
Yeah.
There's not one standardized thing in place for people to abide by. Everyone's kind of deciding the rules for themselves.
Yeah, it's decided instead of federal mandates, it's by state.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I think going forward there needs to be an agreement between the states to actually slow this progression. I know at least from the stats that we've seen, America's now topped the world with the amount of cases. Now we're going to go and talk to some people from around the world and see their views and how they're coping, specifically in Spain and Italy.
I am Blanca. I am from Madrid. I am 20 years old and I am currently studying third of biotechnology and pharmacy at Madrid in Universidad Francisco Vitoria.
Okay, hi Blanca. The first thing that I wanted to ask you is obviously you're currently in Spain. So I think this is now becoming the epicenter of Europe. So for this reason, why did you think Spain has now surpassed Italy?
I think Spain and Italy are the second and third countries in the world in terms of infection and deaths because we Latinos are very affectionate. No, I'm just kidding. I think it's because of two main reasons. The first is that both Italy and Spain are countries that are based on tourism, so have a lot of traffic, which encourages the spread of the virus. And the second reason, I think that Italian and Spanish are undisciplined in the sense that we are not as squared as the Nordics, for example, and therefore we would have need rulers that with the capacity to anticipate, and we don't have them. I think the difference in people infected by COVID-19 is due to the fact that in Spain, we have Madrid and Barcelona that in the area of influence, which is bigger than the two main focus in Italy that are Rome and Milan. And I think it was kind of a mixture of different things such as mismanagement of part of the government, how long it took for them to react, the fact that in Spain there is a lot of flow of people.
Why do you think it is so important that we do social distance?
On this subject, on the one hand, I think it's fine. And on the other, I think it's a little silly sometimes. I'll explain. Social distancing is important to avoid the risk of spreading and being caught by the virus. But what I think is that it's quite useless. The fact that if, for example, my parents want to go out and do the shopping together, they are at home together, they go down the elevator together and do everything together until the moment they have to leave the doorway. From that moment on, they have to separate by 1.5 meters until they return home where the whole family is together.
Just to kind of finish up, what do you think we should have done beforehand, and kind of how do you feel about the coping mechanisms that we have undertaken within society, or at least in Spain, if you could give us some examples? And how do you think we can keep ourselves best updated and aware about what's going on? What do you in Spain use to keep yourselves updated, maybe?
Okay, about the what should have we done before, I think first of all, the government should not have underestimated the virus and believe that we were invincible in front of the COVID-19. When cases began to appear in Spain, we should have seen the situation in Italy and acted early to prevent the same thing from happening to us. Secondly, what is not logical is that on the same day that it appears in the news that schools and universities are closed to prevent the contagion, many people go out to clubs to celebrate it. I am ashamed of the behavior of these people. Like many discos promoted themselves by celebrating the night of the coronavirus with slogans like the coronavirus is killed by dancing, or you have to wash inside and outside with alcohol. It's like ridiculous.
I also saw a news article about Spain, and there was a football match between, I think it was Valencia and Milan.
Yes.
And there was over 35,000 Italians actually attended that match. And I saw on the news a lot of people were saying that that might have been a reason things started to spread so much around Spain. Is there anything that you've seen in the news that maybe we wouldn't have seen in America or in other parts of the world that you thought was important to share?
There are a lot of people who are illegally going to their second residence, I think it's said. And for example, if I'm in Madrid and I have a house in the beach, I go there. And we are forbidden to do this.
Is things like the metro and the buses still running? And likewise with the supermarkets, are they all open or are a lot of them closed?
Buses and things like that are not open. I think, I don't know about Intercambiador, but like you can only no, like for example, if normally it's like 10, you can take one bus like 10 times a day, just only one time, and you have to be like separated by like, I don't know, like 5 seats or something. So instead of going in the bus like 40 people, you can only be 15, for example. And supermarkets, like half of them are closed, I think. You have to wait outside the supermarket.
Wow. Okay, well, thank you for that. I think you've really given a good insight.
I'm Benedetta. I'm 24 years old, and I'm from Italy, from Ravenna. And today I'm here for explain you what's happening in Italy nowadays in that period, what will be our life for the next month. I think I'm really worried about the situation, and I'm thinking about what I'm going to do when I can go out. But I think that my life until they find a solution for the virus couldn't be the same.
Why do you think so many people are still in Italy contracting it, even though Italy was meant to be on such a strict lockdown?
I think that many people started to go out, even if they shouldn't. And I think that they don't realize what's really happening. They don't realize also the problem that we are creating to our economy. And I am the only one that started some days before the lockdown to stay at home, because I was seeing on the news that many people were contracting coronavirus, and I came from Germany because I stayed 2 weeks in Germany while in Italy started to close the school. And I was thinking, if they're closing the school, there's something big that's happening. Why there are so many cases? Because I don't know if you know, because you're in America, but in the south of Italy, there are people that are really poor, and they live like 7, 8 people in small apartments, and they keep on going out or going to buy fruit outside that aren't like grocery. They are controlling the people with like a drone on the air, yeah, and they take picture, but you don't have to think that people are saying it all like what I'm doing. This is a real problem, but because people keep on going out or saying that they're working if they are not working, or they forgo to see the girlfriend or to do other things.
So is there police outside that stop you, or what happens if they catch you outside?
They made you pay an amount of money, and this fact is written on your documents. So it's like that you're breaking a rules, and they are thinking of create harder restriction, like to go to jail.
I saw a news article about Italy, and it was saying how the mayors in Italy of each individual city were sending statements out to the public, kind of telling them they have to stay at home or something bad will happen. Was that true? Were they doing that?
Yeah, they have to stay at home, and I think that sometimes the information that you could have about Italy would be different from what I have here. And the problem is that when a person that work in the hospital that have the coronavirus part in the hospital, they couldn't stay at home with their families, and they have to stay in another apartment away, because they could be asymptomatic and they could affect their family. And I think that the psychological things of a doctor or a nurse is affecting them more than coronavirus, because they are seeing people that are dying alone, and they could only, if they're lucky, call the family. Because I think that this psychological fact will create many problems to them. And yeah, they have to stay at home, and many people that also are calling because they're feeling bad, they say to them to stay home because they don't have place at the hospital. So
Okay, do you have any more questions? No.
I think that clears up a lot. about what we wanted to know.
Okay, thank you so much for letting us
You're welcome.
Thanks for watching the video, guys. If you have any questions, put them in the comments section below. Everything that's been spoken about in the video today, I'll try and include informative links in the description, as for the most up-to-date sources that you can follow to keep up to date with what's happening around the world, case by case.